Hi everyone. My name's Nicole. So happy to be here. And I just wanted to start by thanking the Urban Land Institute for covering all the costs of this event and being supportive of including climate art in Net Zero Buildings Week. This is such a special event, and I'm really excited to get us started. I am gonna share with you a link to, I'll screen share and we'll do a little slideshow. Actually, it might be tricky with Google Slides, but I'll do kind of just like full screen version of it. So we're going to be doing a workshop on envisioning the future of the built environment today. And the flow of it is we're going to do a little bit of an intro. I'll explain like what that means, background on myself. Then we'll do some warm-up sketching because I know most folks probably haven't drawn or painted in a long time. Totally fine. Don't need experience. This is the time for kind of like creativity and exploration and using your imagination to kind of like push the boundaries of what we're normally thinking about. And then we'll do some breakout rooms to do some like group brainstorming to help you get some ideas flowing for what you actually want to be drawing. And then we'll have time to do our drawing, and we'll come back at the end to do some reflecting together. So just to kind of like frame the context of this workshop, so how we're thinking about the built environment today is human-made buildings, homes, streets, and physical structures that people live, work, and play in. And so the 4 factors that are making up this concept that we're going to be using today, and we'll kind of like, there are even more in-depth definitions throughout this slide that you can kind of refer back to. I'll be sharing the link to this, so you don't need to worry about like memorizing any of these. Our sustainability, so how do buildings meet the needs of current and future generations without compromising the ability of future generations to survive and thrive. Second is health. How do buildings promote or detract from human health? Diversity and equity and inclusion are how do buildings impact historically marginalized groups such as low income, under-resourced neighborhoods and communities of color. And finally, community. How does the design and placement of buildings contribute or detract from communities? Consider the future of building placement with impending land use change due to climate change. So just wanted to make sure that everyone can see all that. Okay, cool. So this is kind of like the background and framing that we're going to use to kind of like get our brainstorming going for this workshop. Before we break out into groups, I just wanted to like tell you a little bit of background about me, why we're doing, like how I came to be doing climate art. I don't come from a climate background. I don't even come from a climate art background or art background. Before all this, I co-founded an after-school program to teach kids how to code and sold that in 2019. I wanted to transition into climate, and I did a lot of like self-studying and research and joined a community called My Climate Journey. I found my first boss through that space and was able to transition into the climate tech space through, you know, a series of happy events. And I got to working at a climate startup and I was like, I did the thing. And I've been working in operations my whole career at that point. And I realized like I wasn't feeling it as much anymore and wanted to have a little more creativity in my life. And so just for fun, I decided to paint a watercolor a day for 100 days. And it wasn't about climate. It was just like for fun. I, don't have a background in watercolors. The last time I took an art class was AP art in high school. Like I grew up liking art, but like that was a long time ago. And I basically like started doing random different paintings. Like I did one about cute baby otters and it was like Happy New Year because I started on January 1st. But 10 days in, I painted about kelp and carbon sequestration. And that basically was like the turning point for me, where I was sharing on Twitter and it got a little bit of attention, and I realized this seems to be like a thing. So I decided to paint the rest of the 100 days all about climate. And I ended up quitting my job within 4 months after I started painting. And now I make art about climate change full time. And so I really try to take big, hard to understand concepts about climate change and break them down into simple and visual ways. So, like taking things from the IRA and really thinking, how can I relate this to a simple, like, visual that, like, my dad will understand, my cousin will understand, who doesn't work in climate, and how can this relate to their individual lives? And so, I've tailored this. This was for New York, but then I was able to work with different governments to help them apply that to their cities, for example, so that they could use it as a communication graphic for their own constituents. And then, taking like the electric grid managed by regional interconnections and like making it something that people who work in energy want to hang in their offices so that they can then explain it to people who walk through. I have so many people saying that it's like a great conversation starter to people who are in or not in climate. This is like from the latest IPCC report, and I just like, made it even more vibrant and eye-catching, because there was some like talk about how the colors were a little harder to see on the original graphic. So I like really tried to emphasize the difference and like make it really vibrant. And then these are some examples of like clients that I work with. So I try to take like their like their like messaging, their actual business models, and helping them communicate what they're doing so that they can use it in their own marketing materials or pitch decks or social media, so that they can have a larger impact using these visuals. So that's a little bit about me for now, and kind of what we're going to be doing today. I'm going to stop screen sharing for now. And we're going to start by doing some breakout rooms to just like get back into sketching. The exercise that we're doing to start is like 1 minute quick sketches. I'm going to be announcing in the breakout rooms, like in a like you're going to hear my voice broadcasted, but I'll also chat it in case you can't hear it. And I'll give you a prompt. It'll be like a 1-word simple prompt. You're going to have a minute to draw. It's not supposed to be perfect. It's not supposed to be good. It's just to get the ball rolling creatively. So you'll have 5 minutes of that. There will be 5 prompts. And then after the 5 minutes end, you're going to be in your breakout rooms and you're going to start brainstorming about this idea of what do you want to do for the creative portion of like imagining a built environment that we want to be living in. How was that, everyone?
Yeah.
Were you guys like brainstorming out loud, not like as a group? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
There's like a normal Zoom feature that I can see little audio levels in the breakout rooms, and they got rid of that. So I was like, wait, are they drawing already? Are they all just silently in their rooms like, no?
Telepathically brainstorming.
Kevin did share some cool stuff in the chat from an architect that is not bound to straight lines.
Yeah, we were talking about like organic architecture, curves in architecture instead of right angles. I think that was the conversation, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Love that. Yeah, if you have any links or resources that came up in your breakout rooms, feel free to put them in the chat. I'm sure other folks would like to see them. I always like to see if people just want to like hold up what they drew in their quick sketch. Optional, but it's fun to just like see what everyone made in their little warm-ups.
Let's see. I like my
cool. Love it.
So cool.
These are great. Nice. Ooh, whoa. Pablo, love it.
Wow.
Oh,
Fancy.
oh, those look great.
Yeah, these are awesome. Okay, amazing. So the next portion.
Cheer up, your kiddos.
Oh, yay!
So cool.
I love it when kids join for these. It's like it makes me so happy. So now for the next bit, we'll have like about like 15-ish minutes to draw independently about what we were just brainstorming. And like I said, I'm gonna be like recreating my interpretation of slide 12 in that Google slides that I sent out. And if you want to like follow along with what I'm doing, this is like, if you see where my hands are on the screen, you can like pin my spot or my screen. If you go to the top right corner of that, there's 3 dots and you can right click and click pin if you like want extra guidance. Like some people just like to follow along with what I'm doing, but I really encourage like creativity and imagination during this time. It's not about being an amazing artist. Like we're not trying to get you to be an artist today. This is like about imagination and play and fun and not staring at your computer screen, which is always a bonus during a Zoom activity. Believe it or not, we're not going to look at our computer. So yeah, we will get started. I'm going to put on some just like chill like music in the background, and I'll kind of call you back when it's time to do some reflecting. All right. So we've got about 10 minutes left, and you can keep drawing or painting or whatever you're doing, but I just wanted to also open up the space for kind of reflection and conversation about what you're creating or what you've been thinking about in this past hour.
So I tried to take some of the prompts around health and sustainable and equitable, and I drew my dream streetscape. It has like a little area for cars, bus only lane, protected bike lanes by a little green strip, big sidewalk, and then a mixed use community of apartments with native plants outside, a small business building that has a mural on it for like some art in place, with rooftops that have green roofs as well as solar panels. And on this one, I did a mixed use of restaurant and office with a solar canopy on the roof so that, you know, it can be enjoyed. And then a big park as well. Oh, I'm probably really blurry, but I tried to think of all of the best things that make like a Main Street sustainable and wonderful and put them together. That's what I went for.
I love it. That's amazing. So cool. Very creative. Anyone else want to share?
Yeah, I think I did something very similar to what Marta did, but probably be very difficult to see. But I was realizing, one, that I don't know how to do perspective anymore. So there's that. But I was trying to come up with, like, if I had, quadrants in sort of a community, you'd have like the central park, you'd have like food growing. I think that's what this one is. You'd have stores and a school and a library and mixed use housing, like sort of all surrounded by like light rail or some kind of public transportation, and bike and walking spaces so you could get to other parts. So it's very linear. I realized also I started out with a circle and I was like, nope, that's not happening. I need a square to organize my little town. So
I love it.
flashback to Richard Scarry books as a child. Yes.
Megan, that's totally what it reminds me of. I love it. Those books were big.
I read those books to my child every day almost, so I feel that. You're
The
spot on.
Mobile. I can share mine. I kind of went the opposite. I went like 100% organic shapes.
Nice one, Aaron.
And I wanted to show, I was listening to a podcast the other night about finding places of love in your community. And so I just wanted to show that visually. And so like the school up here in purple is, there's a heart there. And then these are all like little small, like housing clusters that are circular and like, probably 4 to 6 stories high. And then the yellow is like community services. And then there's community gardens throughout and lots of green space and perviousness and water. I was going all in on the organic shapes, but
Love it.
an abstract.
Yes.
Um,
Talking about
I'm right along with you on that. Like, I peppered in
Love it.
what is it? Pickleball courts, soccer fields, farmers markets, right down here. And Aaron and I live in the same town in Durango. The Animas River is kind of our heart line. And parking for me, being a building designer, is really difficult here because people love their cars. But I try to envision like a town without any cars. And just like a lot more paths to get us here and there. But my homage to my old roots was Portland, Oregon, where I always wanted to design a building where I could have like a living roof and like live up there and then like work down below in there, do like rain and catchment and a lot of greenery, and then go back to the European roots of hanging your laundry out to dry.
I love it.
Right there. And then in our town, like we have quite a bit of bridges, but I'd love more to get across.
Yeah.
Aaron and I have fought the CDOT many times. I'm trying to get like crosswalks and safe ways to get across that highway so we can connect our town. But it'd be great if there's some way to do that.
Yeah. Trevor, I love that you and I drew much more rural places, and Marta and Megan drew much more urban places.
You draw what you know.
Yeah.
totally.
I went kind of in a different direction because trying to explain climate change to anybody outside of my work world is different. So I did, well, how do I think through the barriers? Money, I'm trying to do this backwards, access, it's sitting on knowledge, the tree of knowledge. So how do you gain knowledge? How do you convey the knowledge to others who aren't in your space? And access, and, what questions are they going to have? So it's trying to think through, how do you start the conversation? And they're going to always come at me with barriers. So,
Yeah. I always love seeing metaphors and how people interpret the prompts. It's like, it's really special to see like how everyone thinks.
I dropped mine in the chat. Just did this on my iPad here. And I've always this is my very utopian little vision for the future.
I love this. I have a similar vision for me on a lake making art, so feel you.
I guess I'll second your open room concept. And my idea was like a cafe that has a garden like attached to this is really hard, isn't it? So this would be like an open room where like a cafe or even like a living room or something that you just walk into the garden and there's kind of a path that leads you through it. Try to put some solar panels on the roof there. I don't know how to draw solar panels except they're just squares without the color.
Yeah,
Trying to connect like the outside in.
so cool. Solar panels are one of the hardest things for me to draw, so I feel you on that. I draw wind turbines all day, every day. Solar panels, I'm like, what color should they be? How do I do these angles? Like, they're not easy.
See, the best ones are the ones that like just kind of you can't see, right? Like they're on the roof and they're just a part of the roof, so they're not meant to be recognizable. Otherwise, just a square.
And I think that there's going to be technology where the solar cells are incorporated as the windows, so it's just going to get harder to draw, unfortunately. I guess I could share my drawing, maybe, if my camera will let me. One, it's not really letting me. So like this is the top part of the drawing. I just have some birds there flying by, and the roofs have some solar panels. And the city is pretty close by with higher density for workspaces and a MAX train that travels between people's homes and their places of work. And there's high density housing that includes shared open spaces that are both for food and for wildlife resources. And there's a river nearby with other wildlife. That's a fox and some fish going by because I'm thinking a lot about our wildlife and how we need to help them out with our plans so that we also help them so that their needs are met as well.
Yes. Amazing. So if everyone, we are wrapping up here. If everyone wants to just hold up what they've created, I'd love to see. You can screenshot later and share on social media maybe. And if you're blurred, take off your blur background because it's always hard for the cameras to focus. So cool. Oh my gosh, these are beautiful. So thank you everyone for coming. I'm gonna chat the information if you would like to share on social media and use the hashtag #DCarbForGood. We'd love to see what you created. If you want to just take a photo, share it on social media, or email sarah@newbuildings.org. Thank you to New Buildings and Urban Land Institute for making this possible. This was amazing. And feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. Or yeah, thank you everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
always had a dream of like teaching at a school that's next to a pond. That's like an outdoor room where I sit outside. And so this is like a zero energy building in a perfect little utopia where I teach in this building and there's a pond next to it and there's like a city on the hill in the background.